Hi, good morning all, and welcome to Pepperi's webinar, How to Cleverly Use Sales Campaigns to Increase Order Size and Grow Your B2B Sales. My name is Neta Weinreeb. I'm Head of Enterprise Marketing at Pepperi, and I'll be hosting this webinar. We'll start the webinar off by looking at ways to increase order size and grow B2B sales. In this portion of the webinar, we're going to share with you some things that we've learned from our customers, and also some tips and tricks from Professor Dan Ariely's best-selling book, Predictably Irrational. We'll follow up by giving the mic to Lee Silverstone, owner of AAB Fashion in Australia, who is going to share with us the way he increased order size and revenue in general. Lee has been doing some very clever things with clever campaigns, and we're always amazed by his new ideas. We'll conclude by looking at the 4 mistakes that you need to avoid when planning your B2B sales campaigns. So a couple words about Pepperi, just to get us going. We launched our sales platform in 2011. We're serving over 1,000 customers in more than 60 countries. And what we're sharing with you in this webinar is partially based on what we've learned from them. Managing campaigns in an omni-channel environments, like most things in life, this is divided into 3 parts. First of all, we need to choose the right campaign, decide on what our goals are, choose the target retailers, and choose the means. We then need to implement the campaign in the chosen channels in our sales reps solution or in our B2B self-service channel. Last but not least, we need to measure what we've done, figure out whether it was good or not, and decide what to do next time. So I think the most important thing is to figure out what your goal is, right? So we've identified several goals. I think that covers quite a few potential goals that you may have. First of all, you may want to sell more of a specific product, clear your shelves, probably at the end of the season if you're in fashion. The second goal, and this is an ongoing goal, increase your order size. The third goal, encourage loyalty, entice new retailers. The fourth goal is could be to introduce new product category or new products to your customers. And the last one would be to encourage the use of self-service solutions. So I've mentioned Professor Dan Ariely's book at the beginning of the webinar. He has researched human behavior and came to the conclusion that it's predictably irrational, i.e. it's irrational, but we can figure out what people are going to do in certain scenarios. Now, I know that we're talking about B2B, and people tend to think of B2B as something that's very rational, right? So we're talking about 2 companies that do business together, and we assume that the way things are going to go is based on rational business needs or business logic. The thing is, companies are made of people, and people are predictably irrational. Let me show you an example. So you want to promote product X. So you're offering 10% on product X. You want this promotion to work really well. You want most of your customers to choose it. If you're going to offer it together with a promotion of 9 for the price of 8 on product Y, people are not going to be able to compare the two, so they're going to be indifferent. However, if you decide at the same time of 10% discount on product X to offer a promotion of 5% discount on product Y, it will make the 10% discount on product X look really, really good. This discount is going to be more appealing than if it was just standing by itself or compared or looked at by itself. And more people are going to choose this specific discount just because you've offered 5% discount on product Y. It seems irrational, but this is how people's minds work, and we can use it to our advantage. Keeping that in mind, let's look at goal 8, selling more of specific products or clearing inventory. Of course, you can offer a discount on items in the specific group, or discount if people reach an order over a specific size for product in this group. You can offer product bundles, and you can, of course, offer promotions like buy 3 for the price of 2, etc. Now I want to talk about the magical words free and zero. People love getting things for free, and when people are offered, research has shown that when people are offered something for free, they tend to forget the associated cost with the free thing that they're offering. So you can see people who make $100 an hour stand in line for a whole hour to get a scoop of ice cream that's worth $2. We can use it to our advantage. We can get people to do stuff for us if we're offering free things. For example, retailers may be more willing to help you take effect or by taking a picture of a shelf or an in-store campaign. If you offer them something for free in return, it could be something very, very small, but because it's free, it's going to get them going. Keeping that in mind, we can look at ways to increase order size. Of course, there's the classic cross-sell, offering complementing products. Volume discount is a common promotion that we see all the time. Discount per quantity of items or per total cost of order. And my favorite is games. Arbitrary discounts are an opportunity for you to play a game with your customers. If you discount all items in a specific color, starting with a specific letter, then for your customers, it's a sort of game, and they're going to be much more likely to take part in the promotion and buy a larger quantity of items if you offer them this type of game. So I've mentioned games, and I want to say a few words about gamification. Gamification is when you use game elements in real life. If you run a promotion that's structured, consistent, has rules, and a real-world outcome, a reward or a prize, you're using gamification. An example for this could be offering retailers a point system for orders, and the winner will get a prize and feel victorious. This appeals to people's urge to compete with each other. People's urge, or people love winning. So you appeal to that, but you're also, when you're doing that, you're also getting your retailers engaged with your brands. They feel as though they have a relationship with the brand, and that's very strong. So games is something we can use for different goals. For example, if we want to encourage loyalty and entice new retailers, one of the ways to do it is to have a reward system, accumulate credits. If you do this in a format of a game, you're sharing the information among retailers, or you're having your retailers compete or between themselves or compete to reach a certain goal, then you're playing a game with them, and that's going to be very successful. Other ways are discounting the first order for new retailers or the next order for existing ones, discounting cumulative orders, and offering new channels like self-service. The fourth goal that we've talked about is introducing a new product category or new products. We can play games here too, right? We can start a competition between retailers to see who is going to sell more of a specific product or product line. We can bundle new products with existing products, popular products, and we can offer special, unusual discounts on these new products. One more thing to remember, especially when we are talking about gamification and offering rewards, is the fact that experiences are more powerful than physical objects. So if you want to cement your relationship with retailers, you can reward them with an experience that they'll remember. A night out in town with a wife, a trip somewhere is going to be so much more meaningful and memorable than an object. If you think of yourself and you think about something that you've done 10 years ago and compare it to something that you bought 10 years ago, you'll see that the things that you've done 10 years ago, you still remember. The things that you bought 10 years ago, you don't really remember. And you must remember this thing when you choose a prize. Offering a prize that's memorable, that's an experience, is going to do much more for your relationship with your customer. Last but not least, encourage self-service channel. So I want to say a couple words about self-service channel in general. B2B e-commerce is a new opportunity for you and for your retailers. It lowers the cost of order taking. It helps your sales reps make better use of their time. They can use their time to cement the relationship with the customers, to find new customers, and it helps your customers order whenever they want and whatever they want to. If you want to encourage the adoption of a B2B sales channel, you should share the savings with your retailers and with your sales reps, right? You want to give them an incentive to use the channel. So you should give better discounts to the retailers who are using B2B self-service channel. And of course, if you expect your sales reps to promote the channel with their customers, then they shouldn't lose money because of that. You should give them part of your gains when they do that. So when you use this channel, of course you need to give a slightly bigger discount to encourage your retailers to use it, and you need to share your gains with the sales reps, but you also need to consider promotions that suit the new channel. For example, on a self-service channel, you can offer promotions that are very short in time and that are specific to very specific products, to select products. Because of the way the channel works, because it is available all time to all customers, then this type of promotions can work really well. So we talked about choosing the right campaign. Let's talk about implementing the campaign in the chosen channels. And what I'd like to bring to your attention in this portion of the webinar is the fact that if you can group your customers in different ways, right? You can geographically, based on their size, based on their the revenue that they create for you. You can choose, and this create many types of groups. You have different conditions for each promotions, and you have different channels, and this create the combination. All those combinations create too many options. So to implement sales campaigns properly, first of all, management should set the campaigns and have full visibility and control over what's going on. Sales reps should have all the promotions related to a customer in front of them, so they arrive at a customer, they need to have a list of all the promotions available to the customer, and the customers should be able to see what's available to them when they log into the self-service channel. You have to remember that consistency is key, so you can't offer a smaller discount on a self-service channel than what your sales reps are offering in the field. That will not make sense to the customer and will create mistrust. The last thing, of course, is measuring the results across channels. Measure, compare, improve. The same way you compare the performance of your sales reps or your retailers, you can compare other things. Discount rates, promotion types, length of promotion. So how do we do this? First of all, you need to choose your target audience. Then you arbitrarily choose a smaller control group within the target audience. You run your campaign on the large group and a slightly different one on the smaller group. Then you compare the results. What have you learned? If you see that a 10% discount or a 15% discount create the same level of increase in sales, then there's no reason for you to offer the 15% discount, right? The 10% discount is just as good. So you can do this tests and try different things and figure out what's going to work better for you in the long run. Just one word of caution before we end this portion of the webinar. We overvalue what we create. And of course, this includes the campaigns that we're coming up with. That's why measuring the results, trying new campaigns, measuring again is key to running successful sales campaigns. And this is a great opportunity to introduce and give the mic to Lee Silverstone, owner of AAB Fashion in Australia, who is going to share with us his experience. Hi, Lee.
Hi, thanks for that. Basically, my name is Lee Silverstein. I have a wholesale hair and beauty business in Australia. We are importers and distributors of around 12 major brands of products. We distribute them to about 1,500 accounts, which would be probably maybe 1,000 retail accounts and 500 distributors. Basically, we deal with some of the largest nail polish brands in the market and some other very well-known hair products. We found Pepperi to be extremely useful with QuickBooks, which has major limitations in terms of selling. Some of the things we've been using it for is for incentives and tiered pricing, and it's been a great way to win customers in very difficult markets. One of the better features that we've found is basically the tiered pricing. We've actually created some campaigns around this, and we built a campaign basically around what we call 146, which was really taking some generic products which we had enormous competition on, and we basically preloaded some deals into the software which basically allowed our sales reps to negotiate with clients in a structure which was acceptable to myself, the sales manager, and it really, what it did is it put the power back in the hands of the sales rep, and it was much better than going backwards and forwards with the sales rep and the client and myself endlessly trying to get to the best deal. Basically, this saw fantastic growth in sales in this space. Sometimes we even saw double, triple the amount of selling on generic lines. It was very, very, very useful on products where we had a lot of competition, would be the best way to say that. We had none of these abilities inside of QuickBooks, so this was really the first time that our reps could manage all the negotiation on my rules with the client without my involvement. Another thing we found very useful with Pepperi was the ability to bundle items into one code. We often sell display products full of earrings, jewellery, and sometimes the display products have maybe 400 to 500 different SKUs of product inside the actual display. What this meant was the amount of work for the sales rep to enter the purchase order, the amount of work for the office to enter the sales order into the system was just horrendous, and people avoided doing it because it could often take 5 to 6 hours in order just to enter the data in, and people just found it too complicated in order to achieve the goal. Now what we have is basically a one-step, one-button push for one SKU, which basically attaches itself to all the other products as an assemble, and all the data comes straight into the system, and what would normally have taken between the office and the sales team 6 plus 6, being 12 hours now is about a 5-second task, and it's resulted in a greater willingness in the sales team to basically push the complicated sales. So basically we've found, as two examples, the ability to negotiate and the ability to discount within a structured framework, very good, and also being able to group items together as things we never had any of that before. All of this, in my opinion, is very important because the way that the wholesaler needs to behave in order to survive is basically changing. There are just enormous pressures on costs with the internet now exposing a lot of information to retailers which they never had before. So wholesale is constantly having to find its way to become more and more efficient. And the model of how business is being done is changing, where once, the retailer would have to wait for the rep to come to his store, then they'd have to work out what they wanted, then they'd negotiate, then they'd have to go backwards and forwards to the office until it's all into the system, which was a very cumbersome and slow process. The whole process is now basically changing how it's happening to a much more, streamlined way, where basically clients and reps are the client's becoming self-sufficient. So basically the client will basically start using programs like Pepperi in order to see what's available, and they'll be placing the order on their own. The role of the rep is changing from being an order taker to be someone who builds relationships, educates the client, trains a client in how to use social media, but in general, the process where there was a negotiation between the rep and the customer the whole way through until the order was placed is now resulting in a client downloading a program like Pepperi, doing the ordering themselves, and it's just a different model of business. That's, I guess, some snapshot of the future, the way things are happening. So basically, in the summary, like, we think Pepperi is a great tool. It's definitely allowing our reps to do things they never had before and do it in a much more efficient way. It's also meaning that the amount of training that reps need to have in order to perform their task is much less. Promotions are basically in the system. People don't need to remember huge amounts of information anymore. It's just all there, and it's working much better. I personally have clients who I've never met who are key accounts who only use the program. Basically, since we've been doing it, we've seen probably an increase of about 18% in orders. Order size has definitely increased by at least 20%, 7%. People know what they're going to get. They feel more confident in placing orders for stock. And now there's definitely a very strong B2B channel which is developed. In a lot of it's self-sufficient, which we never had that before. And that's been a major area of growth, and we see that as being a big part of the future of our business.
Thank you very much, Lee, for this excellent presentation.
Thank you very much, Neta and Lee. My name is Mirav Biton. I'm the Head of Product Knowledge Management at Pepperi. And I'd like to show you those campaigns that Neta and Lee spoke about in action in a demo on my iPad. What you see here is a specific customer that I've gone into in the Pepperi app to place an order for. When I tap on Sales Order, I select the catalog that I want to place the order from. Okay? And within the catalog, I have my items grouped by the campaign that they participate in. This is just one example of a way you can group your items to make it really obvious, direct customers to that campaign, to the items in that campaign. For example, I have a filter called July 4th Red Special. I've selected an arbitrary property for items, the color red, and I've grouped them together to participate in a campaign, which is a special where if I tap on the red indicator next to the item, I can see the description of that campaign. July 4th Red Special, buy 100 or more and get 15%. So I know that if I order a quantity of 100 or more, I'll get 15% off of this item. I'll add now some quantities. Take 50, take 100 of those. I added quantities of the items from this particular special. Now let's go into the shopping cart, and I'd like to show you a nice feature. So the customer ordered 100, 200. You can see they got the 15% off automatically on those items. The price was discounted. The item they ordered only 50 of, they did not get the discount. So in order to encourage them to go back and order more, when I tap Submit, I've configured a pop-up notification. It says, hey, go back and order a few more to reach quantity 100 to get the 15% discount. So this is a suggestion to the customer to go back and order more. This is using campaigns to do an upsell, to get rid of stock you have lying around, etc. So here I can either submit the order as is, but what I'm going to do is cancel that, go back, increase that quantity to 100 or more, and now when I go back into the cart, I can see that I can submit the order without having that notification pop up. And I've gotten the 15% discount on all those items. Before I hit Submit, I want to show you the other groups of campaigns that I have set up. One is called Buy 10, Get 1 Free. Okay, again, when I tap on the red indicator, it explains to me the description of that campaign. I can add multiples of 10 here. And I'll get 1 free for every 10 that I order. Let's take a look at how that looks in the shopping cart. You can see that the rows with the free item are highlighted in blue always. You can see that they were given at a cost of 0. They were automatically added for free. 2 for free for the item I ordered 20 of, and 1 for the item I ordered 10 of. And the last group of items I have are called summer sale, and these are items, again, I'll tap on the red indicator, buy more than $1,000 and get 15% off. So again, it's the same idea. I'll add quantities of these items and then go back and see my discount in the cart. Okay, so now in the shopping cart, I can submit my order, and I've increased the order size, gotten rid of stock I had lying around. I've used Pepperi's campaigns, special offers in order to achieve those business benefits. This is all done very simply by configuration in the Pepperi web admin. I've implemented a couple of rules, created some campaigns, and I've really used the campaigns cleverly to increase my sales. So thanks for joining, thanks for listening, and I'll pass things now back to Neta.
Okay, thank you very much, Mirav, for this excellent demo. So just to conclude our webinar, I wanted to quickly go over the 4 mistakes you need to avoid when planning B2B sales campaigns. Sales campaigns can be great, but there are several pitfalls we should be careful about. So the first one is offering promotions that are not right for the customer's business. We don't want to get the customer to order bathing suits at the end of the summer just because we're offering him a great discount. We want to make sure that we're doing things that also benefit our customers. The second one is not using our data. We know whether the customer has open issues with us. We know whether he has debts. We want to decide on what to offer the customer based on this information. We don't want to make all campaigns available to all customers. The third thing to make sure we don't do is we really need to be careful about cannibalization. Cannibalization is when one product is hurting the sales of another product. So if we are aggressively promoting one product, we should be careful not to have a campaign that will hurt the sales of other products that can be sold for full price or can be sold in greater numbers or you can make more money on. The last thing we should worry about is we need to make sure that we're making the most out of our omni-channel and automation. We need to make sure that we're using them to promote self-service. We need to make sure that we're using them to learn about the data of the customer before offering him information. And we need to make sure that we're using them to monitor the campaigns and control the campaigns. The automation and omni-channel is a great power to have, and we need to figure out how to make the most out of them. So that concludes our webinar for today. We are going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question, feel free to ask it, to tap it into the bar on the right-hand side of your screen. Okay, well, here's a great question. One of our listeners is asking whether, hang on, let me see this question. Whether our, here's the question. Our pricing is set up in our SAP ERP. How would you work in this scenario? Well, basically what Pepperi does is we integrate directly with the SAP and we pull all the information from the SAP and we're able to present this information together with the Pepperi information in one place for the salespeople and for the sales managers to see. So that's something we do all the time with our customers. Many of our customers, or almost all of our customers, are using some sort of ERP, and many of them use SAP. Let's choose another question. Okay, that's a great question. How are campaign rules set up in Pepperi? Is coding required? Okay, the answer is no. We have, our solution enables the sales managers and the marketing managers to go into the back office. We've not shown it in this webinar, but it's a user-friendly, web-based interface where they can actually set the campaigns, see how the campaigns are working, see all the data that is relevant to the campaigns and to what the salespeople do in the field. and use this data to decide on the next campaigns or to decide on other actions. Oh, that's a great question. Pretty similar to the one I've just read. Will the system not be too complicated for customers who are less computer literate? No. The system is designed for people who cannot code. Of course, you might need some help in the initial setup, but once you're up and running, it's a system that can be used by anyone who's computer literate. You don't need to know how to code. If you know how to use email, then you'll be able to use the system. Okay, I think we're done for today. Thank you very much for your participation. If you want to see what Pepperi can do for yourself, please don't hesitate to contact us. Here's the contact details, and of course you can also email me. Thank you for being with us this evening, and have a beautiful day. Good night.